Hey everybody, how we doing today? Happy March Christmas. Well, at least for me. Video before last I kind of went over that I was going to be spending some money. It was just fortunate a lot of stuff have come in the last couple days, actually most of it today. So I think I'm going to do a video, just an update on what I have. I'm also going to use this video to thank my Patreon contributors especially, because they basically funded this whole process. So, and I'm going to do a thank you list, which is going to list pretty much every Patreon contributor from the beginning when I started in September during the Hurricane Irma through the present, because I did spend quite a bit of cash. And then I think going forward I'll stick to just the current Patreon people, but just a huge thank you to the past and present. It's been so helpful in regards to updating and upgrading the channel, making things a lot less worrisome for me, to just knowing I've got that side bundle of cash that'll make up for any issue that I have with the weather, hurricanes, or even YouTube and their changes in their system. So as I'm doing this video, I think I'll scroll somewhere around here and just run a slow list of all the people that have contributed to the channel for whatever. And otherwise, let's go take a look at what I got for Christmas. Chicken butt. Bah. Well, it may be small, but it's important. I don't know if you can see there very well, but that's a new valve stem. I had a bad valve stem. The rubber part was actually leaking, and my air would last about 2 to 3 days before I would have to pump it up, and that was just a huge hassle. So I finally broke down and got that replaced. That's no easy feat in Key West, that now that there's only Sears Auto is the only place to get that done. The Goodyear went out of business and is now going to turn into a Sonic drive-in. But that's our first part. Next, we've got our push pole stakeout pole back in action. So I got another one set up there, got it all rigged up and ready to go. And I've got a new supply system for this guy, so I might not even put a float on it. I'll just use it and throw it away when I'm done every day. Disposable. Now, I'll rig some sort of float. I have to figure out what I want to do with it, but I'm back in action there. Next, we've got the Hobie Mirage fins. These were my old ones that are pretty much wiped out. So for $140 I got nice brand new ones. I got the kit, so I replaced those bent rods that go in here. Mine were and I've straightened them a bunch of times, but once they get bent it kind of weakens them. These are gonna get bent because I'll whack them as well. I'm pretty rough on stuff, but starting fresh doesn't hurt. So we're back in the game on the old pedals, and I actually sprayed it with oil for first time. So babying my stuff. Next, we're bumping it up to the old Outboard. So my 3 videos ago, I had this guy disassembled and reassembled and testing it, and it was running fine. But the problem is that in just idle and just low gear it would be fine, but once I started revving up it was still having problems. And what the problems was this guy. I don't know if I can get it to focus. The problem was this guy, this main gear. As you see these 2 cross hatches that go across there, that is actually what, there's a keyway that when it's out of gear it's away from it, and this is just spinning. Then when you put it in gear, the 2 hatches there's a keyway that fits into them, and that engages it and locks it in, and that engages everything, the propeller, and it kicks around. I know it's hard to see on here, but the edges have been rounded and worn away from being used so much that it was slipping. So that keyway with no pressure on it had enough oomph to spin it fine, but as soon as I started revving it up, it would slip. It would slip out of gear, come back to the next revolution, the spring would push it in, it would clank it, and then it would pop out, and then clank it and pop out and pop out and pop out, and just clunk away at it. And that's what actually destroyed that collar inside the motor. It was because this thing was just not locking up and staying in gear. It was just bouncing out of gear, causing that horrendous vibration. So I had to order this and this pinion gear, because you kind of have to replace them at the same time, and they basically run $200 for these two pieces. Ouch. But I've got those in, so I could put this baby back together again now, and yeah, be back on the water. And then finally we've got this box, the pièce de résistance. So I'm going to do a quick unboxing so you can check out my new baby. Alright, let's take a look at my new baby. Well, there she is. Dun 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 dun. Brand new 2018 Suzuki 2.5 horsepower 4-stroke. Basically the same thing as my other one, just the newer model 4-stroke. Unfortunately, they use all new different modeled components, but it's still generally the same machine. Yup. There we go. Well, there she is, all unboxed and sparkly new. So why the two outboards? The primary reason is downtime. I just can't be down for weeks to 10 days at a time, when you can kind of tell with my videos how much the weather is just cycling up and down, where you might get in a month a couple of 2-day slots, 1 day here, 1 day there, a couple days here of good weather, and then you're surrounded by windy, not so great weather. And for me to be down during those nice weather times where I can go offshore, do the long distance trips, and I miss those, and it's just really rough. So the main plan is that I'll use this new motor for my offshore runs, long distance run, maybe if primarily going out to the reef and to the offshore wrecks and stuff like that, trolling, or if I'm going to the Gulf on the outside. But then when I'm doing the short runs or the flats fishing, then I'll take the other one, because the lower end gets really beat up when I run this shallow water stuff. The kayak itself, I draft nothing with the motor fully seated. I just need basically 4 to 6 inches, but then I could tilt it on its corner axis at like a 45-degree angle, and then I could just putter along in 3 to 4 inches and it's fine. But still, going around when you're dealing with shallow water, which may be a foot, and it looks fine, but then you hit a rock or something, trees all the time, so it's really rough on these lower ends, where that's a lot of the reason why I'm dealing with problems now, is that lower end just gets beat up and it sends shockwaves up to the motor. But that's the main process it's going to be. It's I just cannot be down, and then I've been waiting until now, which is the time change. So we've got that extra hour. I fish evening, night times, so that really improves the amount of fishing time that I can have. So I definitely wanted to make sure I don't miss this spring, summer, early fall time frames when I could really take advantage of it and get out and do some good fishing. The weather will start cleaning up for summer, and having this motor with the peace of mind, especially during the summertime, with the summer storms that come in and are just very, very scary. I tell this every one of my videos during the summertime how scary it is, but it is probably the sketchiest thing I do, is to go anywhere a couple miles offshore during the summertime with those massive storm fronts that just blow through and just wipe everything out, and then goes clear and sunny right afterwards. But having that, I'll give a little bit of peace of mind. That one will still be my workhorse, which I'll probably still use the most. But yeah, now I won't have very much downtime. So that's where the money's going. But anyways, I just want to take a moment and put a big shout out and a huge thank you to all my Patreon contributors, past and present. As you can see, it makes such a huge difference to the channel. All the upgrades I've done to my fishing gear, the recording devices, videoing stuff, all the little knick-knack stuff I bought because of that, and really helped out the videos that I'm making. And then these equipment upgrades, stuff wears out all the time, salt water and corrosion, and I fish a lot, and it really takes a lot of abuse, and it takes a lot of money to kind of keep up with it. On top of that, just the stress level of not having to deal so much with YouTube makes a huge difference, knowing that, yeah, they may screw me over on a few things, but I've got that Patreon contributions that kind of offset that, so I don't stress out so much about it, which really is a big behind the scenes a benefit that has really made things livable. So huge thank you again to my past and present Patreon contributors. Okay, appreciate you all so much, and future Patreon contributors. I just wanted to add, I did mention earlier that I had a second project where a lot of that money is gone. If you've been contacted, I've been sending you out, everybody, an email, as well as Patreon should have sent you a link with the newest video I put on the Patreon site. It's just for the Patreon contributors. So if you've contributed to my Patreon and you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the Patreon page and there should be a video just for you to watch. I don't know if you've stopped contributing, okay, if you still have access to it. If you don't, or you can't get that link, or you've never seen my emails, email me at keywestyacker@gmail.com, and I'll put a link up here somewhere down there in the description, and just give me your name that you sent the contribution under, your name, and then the email, so I'll get back to you and I'll send you the link so you can watch it and you'll know what's going on. For everybody else that I've got your addresses, I've mailed out all the packages, all the letters and stuff to you guys. So I just did the last batch today, so you should be receiving it in the mail within this week. If you don't see anything by end of next week, get a hold of me, just say, hey, I didn't get it, and then I'll do a follow-up on that. But otherwise, again, that wraps it up. I think with this guy, I've got about a 15-hour break-in procedure on it, so I'm going to start on that tomorrow. I'll do a separate video about just kind of how to break it in, do the oil, all that stuff, and just get this thing running. Yeah, and then we'll go from there. And then I think in 2 days, then the weather starts dropping, and then we get like 4 or 5 days of clean weather, so I'll be able to do some good fishing. So anyways, thank you very much. Thank you for the contributions. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Bye.